So then, the next match of the night is a handicap match. It is Samoa Joe and Jeff Jarrett versus the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, and Sting, and Kevin Nash. First things first is this one is hard to follow. Like I said, TNA can be hard to follow because Samoa Joe and Jeff Jarrett are apparently wrestling for the honor of Hulk Hogan, which then Nash, Sting, and Pope are wrestling for Bischoff, I guess.
We don't know.
Okay. But anyways, so Joe does a nice suplex to the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro. Joe does a Shining Wizard to Pope. Sting does a Stinger Splash to Joe. Mm-hmm. Joe does a really good Uranagi to Sting. Pope does a top rope elbow, literally where he pretty much runs into the corner. Flings himself up to the top rope, kind of like Silas Young does by his head, but Pope just kind of goes one-handed and does a elbow drop.
Nice.
To Samoa Joe, which is pretty cool. Joe does a clothesline to Sting and Pope. Then Joe goes for the tag, and Jeff Jarrett just leaves. Okay. So then Pope, Sting, and Nash triple team Joe for a minute. Then Nash does the jackknife powerbomb to Joe, so Pope, Sting, and Kevin Nash win.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I didn't understand the idea of the match to begin with. Why would anyone... okay, so Hogan's a face. I get it. Faces want to do the 2-on-3 match to defend the honor of somebody. They got beat down, I guess, by either 1 or 2 or 3 members of the opposing team, like Sting, Nash, or Burke. I don't remember. And I just watched it an hour and a half ago. I don't remember what happened because it's kind of confusing. But then why does Jarrett leave? And then of course later we're going to talk about this later. So don't. I'm not going to get too much into that right now. But this match felt like nothing. This match could have been on Impact.
It makes no sense.
It did not need to be on the WrestleMania of TNA. It didn't need to be there at all. You got a plethora of talent, of Hall of Fame talent. The only person who shined this match was Samoa Joe. You know why? Because he stood up to the beating at the end, a 3-1 beatdown. And he's the guy who stood out. Jeff Jarrett stood out because he's a freaking puss. Kevin Nash can't work, and he got the pin. Come on. Why couldn't Sting get the pin? Why couldn't the Pope get the pin?
I don't get it either.
Yeah, there's like you said, there's more questions than answers. It didn't make any sense. So, do you want to bring up the Jeff Jarrett, why he left now, or want to bring it later?
Well, we'll bring it up later.
Okay, no problem. To me, this match was a 3.5 tops, and I'm going to give it 3.5 just because there's a lot of guys who did a lot of good in this match who are freaking Hall of Famers and respect them. 3.5.
So
all I can give it. I don't understand the storyline either.
I gave it my average rating, so you get in the ring, you get a 5.
Yeah.
Unless you do something absolutely fucking terrible, which they didn't do anything terrible. They did what they're supposed to do. It's just we don't understand what they're supposed to do.
And I'm usually not that nice about it. I want to understand why you're fighting, and I didn't understand why they're fighting. I
will admit that I am a way nicer reviewer on that because this match they didn't do anything wrong.
True. It was pretty much paint by numbers.
And Pope's elbow looked really good.
True.
He fucked up the first time, though.
But he made up for it.
Because he attempted it the first time, didn't make it up, and then the second time he did it and did it right. But that's a nitpick.
All right, you know what? I'll make it a 4 just because you nitpicked me to 4. You nitpicked me to 4.
Oh, thank you, sir. But yeah, so that match is honestly the worst match of the night.
Yeah.
But then Christy Hemme does a promo with Mr. Anderson. What does Mr. Anderson say?
He pretty much does he does a kind of a shoot on Angle. He talks about Angle and his family and his neighborhood and says that I'm better than you. I'm better than your family. I'm gonna beat your mailman up or some kind of nonsense like that. I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
And he says that he's gonna win for his assholes.
And then, yeah, he did. And then he says, losing to you would be like a friggin' punch in the nuts. And not just and it not just says punch in the nuts. He goes, it hurts. Not just in the left one, but in the right one.
Oh, he said Angle punched him in the balls. He said, Angle, you punched me in the balls. And it didn't hurt just in the left one. It hurt in the right one, too.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, like, Mr. Anderson, he has this way of, like... You know one thing about Mr. Anderson, or Kenny Anderson, or Ken Kennedy...
I fucking love him.
Or whatever.
I love him.
Is that he has a way of manipulating his voice to where, like, he can go from, you punch me in the nuts, it hurts! He just has that way of, like... Well, I disaffected him, apparently. But, like...
The second time you yelled, it hurts in, like, the last minute.
I know, but I'm trying to make a point here. Is that he goes from, like...
It hurts, okay?
He goes from, like, low and chill to intense.
Well, and I just love the fact that...
And he's funny as fuck.
Out of all those fucking people, like, we literally just watched the Eddie Guerrero tribute episode, which will be out eventually. But we watched No Mercy 05 a month ago. And it had his very first pay-per-view match, and he cut a promo at the end of that, too. Going, winner! Loser! And you can just tell, this guy has fucking got charisma.
I never liked him that much.
No.
His in-the-ring style is not the best, I'll say that. But in the fucking charisma and the promos, he's got it.
And really, that is, like, almost 3/4 of the battle when it comes to wrestling.
I mean,
it's getting your character over.
That's why right now I believe he's in NWA, which he would make a great tag team partner for one Eli Drake.
Dummy. Yeah.
Dude, imagine if they were a fucking tag team, the promos that they would cut, calling everyone assholes and dummies.
Kennedy. Yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff.
Asshole, yeah.
So yeah, it was basically Mr. Anderson being the heel for the main event, because we already heard Jeff Hardy pull his
I'm gonna win.
Yeah, I'm gonna win. And eventually Angle will have his later. We'll talk about that. So you're gonna have the face or the tweener, you're gonna have the heel, and eventually you're gonna hear the face from Angle later with Hemi. By the way, Hemi's an MVP. She's pulling off some segments. She's like the Flip Gordon of this whole entire pay-per-view.
True.
And it's not even done yet. She's
The wrestler Flip Gordon, not Flip Gordon's Twitter page where he uses masks to pick up dog shit.
correct, the wrestler. Yeah. No dog shit here.
I mean, the wrestler is a piece of shit person.
Okay.